right, so today we're here with Jackson, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about a farm display that he's put together. But first off, Jackson, we're going to ask you a couple questions. I know here recently you attended the National Farm Machinery Show. How was that?
That was cool.
What was one of your favorite things that you got to see there?
I would say probably about everything.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the stuff
Were
there.
you guys there the whole time?
We were there, let's see, 2 days.
Mhm.
2 days in a row.
Okay, awesome. So I know based off of like your TikToks and stuff, that's where we kind of found you. You seem partial to John Deere. Why is that?
Well, I like the I like the hydraulics of John Deere. I always like the tractors. I always like the good old green and yellow paint.
All right, well, that's fair. Did you grow up on a farm? Do your grandparents farm, or what got you interested into it?
My grandpa farms, my uncle's farm, all that.
Okay,
So that's kind of where it's all came from.
very cool. So you help them out, I assume, some on the farm?
Yep.
Very cool. All right. Well, like I mentioned, Jackson does have a pretty impressive display that he's put together. And can you tell us a little bit about that? What does that model?
Well, I kind of started getting into that. Let's see. Mm, Probably February of 2023 is when I built my first one. My actual first one was back in 2017, and that was
Okay.
just one that scratch built, just some carpet squares, and that was about it.
Very cool. Okay, so if you don't mind, would you mind to show us a little bit of the display and kind of talk about it? And does it resemble your guys' actual farm or what?
Well, I'd have to build the buildings of it. That is, I need to
Okay.
get the building built forward. That's the thing that I need to do right now. They're doing some stuff. Don't mind the mess. But I'm right now trying to kind of read. I'm modeling it off of a YouTube channel I watch a lot on YouTube. So I'm kind of trying to go with a bin setup, kind of like it.
Okay, very cool. And how long has this taken you?
Who probably beginning of 20. When would we put this up?
It's probably been a couple of months.
Okay.
It's so 2 months. It's 6 by 12, so it's a decent size.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And what all? Oh, go ahead.
It's a little bit of mess right now. Just I'm trying to clear stuff, make room to build, and it's a little bit of mess, but
It looks awesome. Looks like you've made good progress with it. So what all are you still wanting to add?
well, if I can get the buildings, the house, all that built, I want to build my grandpa's farm, the equipment, everything. That's the way I want to do it.
That is awesome. That'll be very cool. So do you have like the equipment to do that? Or are you still trying?
The combine that he's got right now, I don't have, but it's something that I can just do a little bit of customization. Boom, boom, it's done, and then it's it.
Very cool. Well, that's exciting. Well, yeah, if you guys want to take us around here a little bit and show us kind of what your farm display is made up of.
What is this right here going on that you got?
My farm right now at the moment, it's under construction right now. So
Okay. That's awesome.
yep.
Here, you want to walk around? Sorry about
You're
bad camera.
fine.
Make you sick.
My camera skills and a bit of a mess because I've been moving stuff around, trying to get it to where I just won't touch it for a while.
Yeah.
You got a nice. What's in your? You got a junk pile.
That's just a mess over there.
Sorry. What's the semi that you worked on? Oh, there we go.
That's it's meant to model my Uncle Rob's farm model semi. So it's black rims. Gotta find the camera. It's
funky. There you go.
Yeah.
So now tell her about it.
So it's meant to model my Uncle Rob's R model Max semi that he's got. So it's black rims. I bought this at Lafayette when I went there.
Okay.
That was fun. That Lafayette was fun.
I bet.
Yeah.
What else you got on? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. How many houses do you have on the display? 2?
Yeah, 2 at the moment.
Okay.
I have a third one. It's just under the table. You probably don't want to look down there because it's a bit of a, and I'm trying to build Holland and Sons dealer. So you probably
Okay.
know. So Prairie State Tractor.
Yep.
They were, so here's kind of the backstory of all that. So they started out as Holland. So back in the 80s, it was Holland and Sons. 2016, 17, right around there. They turned in that dealer and another joined to make Prairie State Tractor. That's kind of the backstory of that.
So are you going to base it off of Holland and Sons, or are you going to have it be called Prairie State?
Holland and Sons, I'm getting some custom stickers for Holland and Sons to be built.
So right in there is the dealer that he's working on.
There was that equipment yard before I tried building it, but I didn't have the.
You want to tell her this barn that you customized?
That's an old corn crib there.
That's awesome.
Painted it up white and not much.
Now the barn to the right there of the corn crib, are you keeping like storage in there, or do you have anything that's going to go in that barn?
That's when I was just piddling around one day.
Okay.
Just sometimes I just get lost in the mess of stuff. Get lost.
That'll happen.
Yep. So I was trying to build a Holland and Sons set up a little bit. It's not like the buildings aren't all accurate, but I'm just trying to build.
Nope, that's awesome. And then you have like an elevator over there as well, a grain elevator.
That's getting taken apart.
Oh, okay.
Again.
Okay.
It never can get perfect. Once, never. It can never get perfect at all. So
I'm sure there's a lot you could change. Do you have a big bud on there?
Yes, I do. I have a Big Bud HN 350.
That's cool.
That tractor's pretty petty tractor. I would definitely say that.
Have you ever seen a big bud in real life before?
No, I'm not.
They are big tractors, that is for sure. And then do you have an international on there too, it looks like?
Oh yeah, I got a little bit of red on here.
All right.
6 right here.
That's
that
awesome.
That one I bought in Louisville too. I bought that at Louisville.
Okay.
I got Tony Reed growing in corn 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Tiger ST KM 325 actually. So that's a pretty cool tractor. And then the Big Bud.
Got quite the collection going on there. Well, you've done a very good job.
Yeah, it's just a bit of mess right now. I had stuff over here looking nice, but I'm trying to just make room to work on that. So I need to get with somebody to start building the buildings for my grandpa's farm, and then I need to, myself, will be getting the equipment. I'll be getting all of that lined up. So, and then I get a guy to build the buildings for me. Someday I'll go over there, tape measure all the buildings, get pictures of everything how it is. And I want the house and all the barns to be pretty detailed, like it needs to look almost spot on.
To what
I want. And then I want to kind of maybe do some videos for the YouTube side of things, kind of farming on the farm, and making things that I can remember back in the day, like shelling corn, cutting beans. And then I want the rest of it, I'll probably tear the rest of it just flat.
Okay.
And just rebuild it. So it will look like kind of a part of that area right around his farm area. And I think it would turn out pretty good
I'm sure it will, yeah.
And it's gonna take a lot of static grass for his farm because it's harder to get to weed whacking. Yeah. I try to weed whack around the house. I kind of try to keep the place at least in pretty good shape.
Well, that's awesome. So does your grandpa still live on the farm?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Farm's 400 acres, so he's still farming.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I think you've done a great job so far, and I know everybody will be excited to see once you get your grandpa section done. So that's exciting.
Yep.
Okay, I did want to ask you, I know I saw in a couple of your videos on TikTok, the John Deere 6600 combine. Is that your grandpa's?
No, that was my Uncle Tim's. That's gone already.
Okay.
I was a little bit disappointed after he sold that. because I was like, that combine, I love the thing. I always wanted that combine, but he sold it sadly. He got what he basically got what he wanted out of it.
Okay. And is that one that you farmed with like growing up? Did you have experience with that combine?
No, it just for my lifetime, it just sat in the barn. That's all it
Okay.
did. So he didn't. He got out of farming. Never really. Now he's kind of helping a big farmer like that farms 300,000, 3,000 acres.
Okay.
So yeah.
I also know I noticed there was a John Deere 4020 in one of your videos. Is that still around?
Yep, that's a power shift. He ain't selling that.
Okay.
That tractor, it's the power shift that ain't going nowhere. And he's
And
got a
that's
son. So probably once he don't want it, it's going to his son. That's where it's probably
okay.
gonna go.
Okay. Now, can you tell me a little bit about, I believe I saw on one of your videos, your John Deere 112 garden tractor. Is that yours?
Yep. Yeah, that hates that. That actually came from Tim too. That was his. It sat in the barn for about 10 years, roughly
Okay.
10. Did run. I pulled it. I got her in the shop one day, and then I just started working on it. And then I didn't even have to put a new starter on it. The original starter still works for it.
Dang, that's impressive.
Oh, let's see. The things I had to do: new carburetor, new fuel filter, new tires, definite new tires. And I can't really think of anything else. And I just did a little bit. And I want to keep it original. Like I like it original. I think it looks. I like the original paint.
Yeah, I like when they have their original paint on them too. So I think that's awesome. What do you use it for? Do you use it like around your place or?
It's more the less. I got it when mowing. I never used it for mowing. This year I want to try and use it for mowing, but it's just kind of a toy. Literally, it's just kind of a toy. Move stuff around. But I got something new. It's a big boy. You might have seen it in one of my new posted videos. It's a big tractor, big lawnmower.
I don't know if I've seen that. What did you get?
The John Deere 420.
Oh,
20 horse.
That's awesome. Well, that's
the
exciting.
The 316's got problems and stuff. It's running on one cylinder right now. So
that's all right. You'll get her figured out. So all the work that you've done on your 112, did you do that yourself? Did somebody help you with that kind of stuff or?
It was my dad that did that. Okay. Like, because he's good with mechanical stuff. He works in the operators union. So he's working on stuff. Always, sometimes just cleaning up stuff, working on it, making sure everything's good, operational.
So what is your favorite thing to do around the farm?
I would say on my grandpa's farm, probably shelling corn. I honestly like shelling corn or planting corn, either or cutting beans, either or. Don't really matter.
So you just, anything you kind of like to do around the farm.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your dream tractor? Do you have one that's on your bucket list?
I do. Let's see, probably. I actually got a couple tractors I'd like to have. I know one's probably a 4,000 John Deere, 4,000 probably.
Okay.
Yep. I always thought that was just kind of, it's in between a 3020 and a 4020. It's kind of the baby tractor, but. And then probably a 5020.
Okay.
A D21.
That would be very cool to have.
Yeah, D21. I always wanted one of them. I always thought that was a cool tractor.
Yeah.
And the farming simulator tractor of that, it has the modulation of you shifting through gears.
Really?
Yes, it does. It's good run. It did a very spot on job.
Yeah.
But then the other tractor would be, I would probably have to go. I would have to go 4755 two-wheel drive. It's something you don't see every day.
No, that isn't something you see every day.
You usually see the front wheel assist 4755. That's pretty much normal tractor. I always like the two-wheel drives.
Okay.
I don't know why. It was just the two-wheel drive.
Yeah. Have you ever attended the Classic Grain Show?
No.
I think you should put that on your bucket list. That's a pretty good one. We went to it last year. It was in Tennessee, and you'll see some awesome pieces of equipment, machinery there. So You might want to add that one to your bucket list someday. That's a pretty good show to go to. I know next time it's every other year, so next time it's going to be in Wisconsin. Okay, so I've got to ask you a couple questions. Obviously, we've noticed you're into John Deere, and it
Yep.
looks like you're kind of more into what I would say like the antique era to classic era and some muscle era tractors even for John Deere. So I don't know if you know too much about us, but Old Iron Garage, we kind of were started to preserve the history of some of this stuff. And we work really closely with Almond Auctions. But one thing that they're really known for is selling pre-30 type stuff. Do you have any interest in like the older tractors that are pre-1930?
I like the Waterloo Boy, like the John Deere
Mhm.
D, like the 2020, like the 1923 Spoker D.
Yeah.
That's a cool track.
That is an awesome tractor.
I would just put that, restore it, and just put it in the yard and let it just sit there. And just let it sit there for the rest of the life. That's where it goes.
I don't
Don't
blame you.
with it. Yard art tractor. That's what
Yeah.
it serves.
Very cool. All right, so I've got to ask you, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Be a farmer. That's
You do?
probably that. Yep, that, and then probably helping my uncles, my grandpa.
Okay. Now, do you guys just farm like row crops? Do you have any cattle, anything like that? Or you guys simply just do crops?
My grandpa used to be like dairy cattle farmer,
Mhm.
but he kind of got out of that. It was just getting harder. I mean, he's older. It's just getting harder to do it.
Mhm. Dairy farming's a lot of work. Those people.
And then my uncles have hogs and cattle.
Okay.
So they have both.
Do you have an interest in like the animal agriculture side of thing, or do you like row crops better?
I'm not really into animals that much. Honestly, no. I would do dairy cattle, like not that many, but I would do dairy cattle. I mean, it's something to do.
Did your grandpa still have dairy cattle in your lifetime, or did he get out of it before?
He got out of it before,
Okay.
even way before I was born.
Okay.
Like probably 15, 16, maybe 20 years ago, he probably got out of it.
Okay. Does he have any like dairy barns on his property?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore. He's got like the silage bins, but not the buildings anymore.
Okay.
Because the buildings got moved out for his big shop that he's got, where the buildings were where his now big nice shop is. Okay. It's a big steel barn. It's one of those steel rafter barns. It's a big barn.
I bet.
So it's 60 by something. 60 by.
Oh wow, that is a big barn.
60 probably by 48 or 50, I would think.
Okay. So yeah, he did put a big barn up out there. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so you're younger, and obviously you grow up in like the farming industry, ag industry community. Where do you think agriculture is going as far as like, have you seen any of the autonomous tractors that are being used? What do you think about that kind of stuff?
The way I think it's going electronic. I want the old stuff to still be out in the field. That's what I like seeing. I like seeing the old 100 series or old John Deere Massey combines or Case or doesn't matter. I just like to see the old stuff out in the field.
I don't blame you. I know a lot of people do.
But I think it's going electronic nowadays. I think that's where they're trying to get it to where a farmer can be sitting in his house either watching TV or doing something else on the farm with the tractor out in the field. And I want to be out there. It just, to me, that takes the fun out of farming. To me, that just takes the fun out of it. And the fun is out there. Just have to yank your neck back and making sure you're not off the road. Or that's where I think it's
it is
it's
crazy.
Kind of a little bit, to me, sad, but yet cool in a sense, because you can be doing something else, getting more stuff done. But I always like the old stuff. I like all them diesel rolling coal tractors out there in the field.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see. I don't know for sure how soon we'll start seeing that kind of stuff in the field where you don't even see a driver on a tractor, but that'll definitely be weird to see for a while. Okay, so again, I know you went to the National Farm Machinery Show. Do you go to any other shows throughout like the year? Do you take anything? Do you guys have an interest in taking like any equipment to tractor shows or anything like that?
Mm-mm. This year, I'd like to get my 112 in the 4-H. I don't know,
That's what I wondered. That'd be
but I've gone to Lafayette, Louisville, Richmond, Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne every year. That's the closest.
okay.
But when I went to Fort Wayne, I thought that was a decent size until I got to Louisville, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is a lot bigger. You could fit a lot of Fort Waynes in there.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, that's a big show that you went to, so I'm sure that was. Now, if I remember correctly, did you drive a stimulator when you were at the machinery show, the National Farm Machinery Show? Or where were you at when you were driving that one stimulator that I saw in one of your videos?
Oh, it was Brad's.
It was my cousin Brad's.
Oh, okay.
He has 2 combine cabs with farming simulator in them. It's 22. I like
Okay.
22 personally. So 22, I think they got 24 released, and I'd like to see how good that looks. But those, you have to get the Xbox. It's just a pain in the butt to do it. So, and it's not cheap at all to do any of that.
Yeah, I bet not. That would not be. That was pretty cool though. So he set that up himself.
Yeah, it's cool. It's something very cool to do. And I like the mods he's got in there. Like he's got Gleaners, he's got John Deere's, he's got all kinds of stuff in there.
Well,
So
that's awesome.
yeah. I do like trucks also. I'm not just on tractors personally per se. So I do like some trucks.
Do you have any trucks? Like personally that you've, or does your grandpa or anybody in your family?
We have a 1999 Chevy 3500. It's 454
cool.
big block gasser. It's a nice truck.
So what's your dream truck? Do you have one of those on your bucket list?
It's been on the bucket list for a good while. It's an 8081 Chevy K30 flatbed, sky blue, original Chevy hubcaps, 5-speed manual. That's what I want.
That's
the truck.
awesome. Well, I hope you get that one day. You're gonna have quite the setup if you get all these dream items.
Those trucks are pretty cheap. They're $3-4 grand if they're not good as the sheet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could have it redone and you'll just have a heck of a truck. You want that to be like your first vehicle, or you want to just have that one day in your collection?
I want that to be my first vehicle. That or that, and then I also like some muscle cars. I'm also in this a little bit. The muscle car that I would absolutely love to have is a 7071 Pontiac Trans Am with a blue stripe going down the center, white with the formula rims on it. I know how it's a 5-speed manual. That's how I want the car.
All right. I've got to ask. So obviously, you have a lot of knowledge about all of this stuff. How did you kind of get an interest? Like what sparked your interest in these vehicles? I mean, obviously we know kind of farming and agriculture, what got you interested in that, but what sparked your interest in vehicles?
I just always like anything old I personally will like. Okay. It's just old. Anything, let's see, for tractors, it's probably 2002 and anything before.
Okay.
For combines, it's 06 and anything before. For cars, it's probably 86, 87, 90, probably 1990-ish and before.
Okay. Do you watch a lot of YouTube videos? Do you read a lot of material? Or how do you learn all the things that you have learned about this stuff?
I watch YouTube, like Farm Sim, guys playing Farm Sim. So and a lot of the mods that they have, I think are cool. Mm-hmm. So that's why I watch it. And ever since I learned about Farming Simulator, I learned it was a game, I've always had a big session for it. I've been begging to get Farm Sim, but the setup cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
have to get the Xbox, and that's not cheap.
That stuff is not cheap, yeah. Okay, so obviously you have an interest in collecting the smaller scale model tractors and stuff for your display. Do you collect anything else as far as like signs go for John Deere stuff? Any type of memorabilia? Do you have any interest in that kind of stuff?
I like signs, and you can see all the hats I've gotten
You've
sent. So
got a
I
lot
like
of hats.
I like a lot of the hats. I've got probably over 60 some hats, probably. I'm
Okay,
gonna say.
that's awesome.
Yep.
When you like purchase, so like your 112, do you ever think, or are you ever on the lookout for the original piece of literature that would have came with that tractor?
When I got it, it didn't have. It did. I finally got the literature that came with it. I got
Okay.
like the manual, everything. It's somewhere up here. And then yeah, it's
Yeah, I didn't know if you had any interest in any of the memorabilia type stuff as well, or if you're just more into the actual tractors themselves.
kind of like all of it.
Okay.
I like collecting anything really, anything John Deere or like farming memorabilia, like old truck memorabilia. Another truck I like is a Dodge Power Wagon, like a 40, 47, 46. I always like them. Red, black rims. Put a 5.9 Cummins in it, 24 valve. That would really be a tough truck.
That would be. That's awesome. Okay, so you've only, outside of the John Deere tractors that you have on your bucket list, is there any other brand or model that you would have an interest in buying one day?
International 1086 red cab, off-brand mirrors, non-front wheel assist.
Those
That's what
1086s are awesome. That's a good one, but yeah.
and that was popular in sales. And then a John Deere 6600 for combines, probably.
Okay. Well, I hope you get everything one day. That'll make quite the collection, that's for sure. All right. Oh, go ahead.
But there's another thing I also like.
What?
Speaking of Chalmer, you know them good old galvanized gabblers? I like them old gleaners.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
We have a guy that, yeah, he really likes the Gleaner combines and he knows a ton of history about them. So that's awesome. I do like to see the Gleaners. I think it's fun when you see them still out in the field, those old ones that people still have. So,
Yep, them old silver cedars and galvanized gabblers.
yep, those are awesome.
That's just a joke I make about them. And then there's another one. Can't get meaner than a gleaner.
Yep, I've heard that one before.
That one I can get along with.
Yes. I have heard that one quite a few times. Okay, before we run out of time here, I do want you to kind of let everybody know where they can find you at.
It is just a Jackson thing. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube, I want to kind of start a real life farm series kind of on there. Is where I want YouTube to go. But TikTok is going to be kind of my farm display. Same with Instagram. So
okay, well that'll be awesome. Do you kind of let everybody? Oh, go ahead.
And it's all just a Jackson thing through every one.
Every platform.
Yep, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. It's all just a Jackson thing.
We first saw you was through TikTok. What video kind of made you real popular and made you blow up on TikTok? Do you know?
My first video, it's where I'm leaning up against the fridge at my Uncle Rand's house. It's like a Thanksgiving kind of party thing, I think. I'm right.
It was just a lunch together that we had together.
Yeah. And I'm leaning up against the fridge talking to my cousin Kyle, in sweater vest. And that video, like a couple hours later, blew up. Like million views, 2 million, 3, just blew up. From there, and that's kind of where it went. So after that, I was getting my cousin Becca's page really blowing up. She was getting more followers, and she just couldn't handle it. So we started. My mama got TikToks because before she never had TikTok, and we started our own page, just a Jackson thing, and then it moved to YouTube, then last Instagram, right? So that's kind of how things went from there.
So how do you feel about social media? I mean, you're pretty young to be out there working with it. Do you think it's a good thing for people to have? Are you glad that it's a platform you're able to reach other people and network through?
I don't really use TikTok because I just nowadays there's a lot of dumb stuff on there anymore. It's just
Mhm.
so I'm mainly in YouTube side of things,
Okay.
but TikTok I'll watch my videos sometimes. Sometimes I'll mess stuff up because I'm not used to it. So I don't. It's YouTube. I'm good with. I can work all that. That's what YouTube. I like. I can handle YouTube.
There's a
But
lot of good content out there on YouTube, so it's a good platform to be on.
yeah.
Well, good.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
No.
How do you feel about all the positive comments that you get?
I just think it's like they think it's pretty cool for me to be on there. I just take it as something pretty cool, and I really just don't care that there's a camera in front of my face. I just go along with it. I just try to look at the camera and just act like the camera is the person, and every time they watch it, it's like they're right there. I'm trying to act like they're right there, and I'm right here teaching them. So that's how I try to do it.
Well, that's awesome, and that's a good trait to have already at your age, and that's definitely going to help you as you grow up because a lot of people are kind of more shy and have a hard time being in front of a camera or even talking to people, but you definitely have been able to gain that already. So I think that's going to help you get pretty far in life. I know I have seen a lot of awesome comments, TikTok shared, reposted of your stuff. So I know people love seeing you. So I hope you guys keep making the videos and keep sharing stuff with us because it's great to watch. Okay. All right. Well, thank you both very much.
Yep, and that's all she wrote.
All right, talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Again, we want to thank you all for listening and remind you that you can find all the source material for our episodes on our website, oldirongarage.com. We encourage everyone to join us on Old Iron Garage and connect with other collectors. Thank you, Jackson, for joining us today. We really enjoyed seeing your farm display and learning about your love for equipment and farming. Again, you can find Jackson on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Just a Jackson Thing. You can submit your collection photos to info@oldirongarage.com to be featured at the end of our episodes. If you'd like to join us on a future episode of Old Iron Talk, you can also reach out to us at info@oldirongarage.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.